Ilse Koch became one of the most infamous women associated with Nazi Germany. The post-war press would sensationally label her the Bitch of Buchenwald, while stories about her alleged involvement in the production of lampshades from human skin helped turn her into a figure of almost mythical evil. But separating the documented history from the rumors is important. Her story is not simply one of a notorious individual, it is also a story about the concentration camp system, post-war justice, and the difficulty of establishing the truth when evidence, testimony, and sensational stories become intertwined. This is a quick run-through of Ilse Koch. Ilse Margarete Köhler was born in Dresden on September 22, 1906. She grew up in a working-class family. After completing 8 years of elementary education, Ilse attended a commercial school in Dresden before working briefly in a bookshop and then as a stenographer and secretary. Her early life gives little indication of the notorious figure she would later become. In May 1932, however, she joined the Nazi Party. 2 years later, she met Karl Otto Koch, an SS officer already building a career within the concentration camp system. Their relationship brought her increasingly into the world of the SS, and in May 1937 they married at Sachsenhausen concentration camp. Later that year, Karl became commandant of the newly established Buchenwald concentration camp near Weimar. As the commandant's wife, Ilse Koch lived within the privileged world of the SS camp leadership. The Koch family lived in the largest villa in the SS commander's settlement, close to the camp but deliberately separated from the prisoners. The Buchenwald Memorial records that SS commanders' families lived lives of considerable comfort, while prisoners were used as household servants. The Koch household also benefited from the seizure of prisoners' property and from forced labor. Prisoners were compelled to produce goods for the SS, including furniture and household items, while others were employed in construction, factories, and armaments production. But beyond the SS settlement lay a very different reality. Buchenwald was a place of systematic terror. Prisoners endured forced labor, inadequate food, beatings, and other forms of abuse. Thousands died from hunger, exhaustion, disease, and mistreatment, while the SS also carried out executions and organized mass killings. From 1941, around 8,000 Soviet prisoners of war were systematically murdered at Buchenwald. The camp therefore functioned not simply as a place of imprisonment, but as an institution in which forced labor, exploitation, terror, and murder were closely connected. But the most notorious allegations concerned tattooed human skin. According to accounts that emerged during and after the war, prisoners with distinctive tattoos were allegedly selected, killed, and their skin preserved as objects. Tattooed human skin was recovered from Buchenwald, and the Buchenwald Memorial has established that the SS removed, tanned, and processed tattooed skin from prisoners into objects including lampshades. A lampshade from the SS villa settlement at Buchenwald has been scientifically confirmed as being made from human skin. A separate lampshade is also documented in photographs on the desk of Camp Commandant Karl Otto Koch. This story became enormously influential in shaping Ilse Koch's public image. Her husband, meanwhile, became involved in corruption and murder within the concentration camp system. Karl Otto Koch was arrested and investigated by the SS itself. He was eventually sentenced to death. On April 5, 1945, he was executed at Buchenwald, just 6 days before the camp was liberated by US forces. After the war, Ilse Koch was arrested by the Americans. In 1947, she was tried before a US military tribunal at Dachau as part of the Buchenwald concentration camp trial. She was found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment. In 1948, General Lucius Clay, the US military governor of Germany, reduced her sentence to 4 years. The decision caused considerable controversy. Koch was released by the Americans in 1949, but German authorities immediately arrested her and began their own prosecution. In 1951, the Augsburg court found Ilse Koch guilty of inciting the murder of a prisoner, inciting an attempted murder, and inciting serious physical abuse, concluding that she used her position and influence to have prisoners subjected to brutal punishment. There was also evidence that she personally mistreated prisoners, although she was acquitted of some of the more serious allegations made against her. The court's convictions centered on specific cases in which she was found to have incited violence against prisoners. In addition, the Koch household benefited from the privileged use of prisoner labor, including the construction of a large riding arena, although this was evidence of her relationship with the camp system rather than the central basis of her 1951 conviction. Importantly, her convictions were based on specific acts of persecution and abuse established by the court, not on the famous lampshade allegations. This time she remained in prison. For the next 16 years, Ilse Koch remained behind bars. On September 2, 1967, she died by suicide in Eichach Women's Prison in Bavaria. She was 60 years old. Ilse Koch remains one of the most controversial figures associated with Buchenwald. Some of the most horrifying stories surrounding her were never conclusively proven, while the documented reality of the concentration camp system was terrible enough without embellishment. Buchenwald was not simply the work of a handful of notorious individuals. It was an institution built upon Nazi ideology, bureaucracy, forced labor, and systematic violence. Ilse Koch's story therefore raises difficult questions about individual responsibility, complicity, evidence, and memory. If you found this story interesting, please like and subscribe to the Quick Run Through channel for more concise history explainers.